The Republic of South Sudan operates under a transitional government formed according to the terms of peace agreements signed in August 2015 and September 2018. Salva Kiir Mayardit, whose authority derives from his 2010 election as president of what was then a semi-autonomous region of southern Sudan within the Republic of Sudan, is chief of state and head of the revitalized transitional government of national unity. International observers considered the 2011 referendum on South Sudanese self-determination, in which 98% of voters chose to separate from Sudan, to be free and fair. Since then, all government positions have been appointed rather than elected. The South Sudan National Police Service, under the Ministry of Interior, is responsible for law enforcement and maintenance of order. The South Sudanese People's Defense Forces are responsible for providing security throughout the country and ostensibly operate under the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs. The Internal Security Bureau of the National Security Service, under the Ministry of National Security, has arrest authority for cases connected to national security but operated beyond its legal authority. Numerous irregular forces, including militias operated by the National Security Service and proxy forces, operated in the country with official knowledge. Civilian authorities routinely failed to maintain effective control over the security forces. There were reports that members of the security forces committed numerous abuses. Significant human rights issues included credible reports of extrajudicial killings, forced disappearances, torture and cases of cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment or punishment by security forces, opposition forces, armed militias affiliated with the government and the opposition, and ethnically based groups, harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, arbitrary detention, political prisoners or detainees, transnational repression against individuals in other countries, including killings, kidnappings, or violence, serious problems with judicial independence, arbitrary or unlawful interference with privacy, serious abuses in an internal conflict, including unlawful killing of civilians, enforced disappearances or abductions, torture and physical abuses or punishment, unlawful recruitment or use of child soldiers, mass forced displacement, widespread gender-based violence, and use of food as a weapon of war, serious restrictions on freedom of expression in the media, including violence against and intimidation and detention of journalists, closure of media houses, censorship, and site blocking, serious restrictions on internet freedom, substantial interference with the rights of peaceful assembly and freedom of association, including overly restrictive laws on the organization, funding, or operation of non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations, inability of citizens to change their government peacefully through free and fair elections, serious restrictions on political participation, serious government corruption, serious government restrictions on or harassment of domestic and international human rights organizations, lack of investigation and accountability for gender-based violence including conflict, related sexual violence, domestic and intimate partner violence, child, early, and forced marriage, and female genital mutilation, cutting and other forms of gender-based violence, trafficking in persons, crimes involving violence targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or intersex persons, the existence of laws criminalizing consensual same-sex sexual conduct between adults, although these laws were largely not enforced, and existence of the worst forms of child labor. Despite isolated examples of prosecution for human rights abuses, impunity remained widespread. The government also failed to take steps to identify, investigate, prosecute, and punish officials who engaged in corruption. Non-government armed groups, including the forces of peace agreement signatories and other opposition armed groups alike, perpetrated serious human rights abuses, which, according to the